Wild animal attacks are rare, but when they happen, they can be horrifying. This video will examine 5 real stories of people's last moments mauled by wild animals. These tragic events show how dangerous nature can be and remind us of the risks when humans and wild animals cross paths. It was April 8, 2017, in Ellisras, South Africa. A day that started as a regular holiday visit turned into an unimaginable tragedy. 12-year-old Christian Prinsloo stayed with his grandmother, Marie Strydom, on a farm owned by family friends Cor and Alet Vos. The Vos family kept 3 lions on their property, believing they were tame and well contained in cages. This belief, however, would be tragically proven wrong. Christian was spending time at the farm during his school break. He enjoyed visiting his grandmother and escaping the routine of daily life. The Vos family, who had owned the farm for years, were confident in their safety measures for the lions. But that day, one of the lions escaped its cage and entered the farmhouse, leading to a horrifying series of events. The lion suddenly appeared while Christian and his grandmother were in the kitchen. In the panic that followed, Christian's father, Herman Prinsloo, had urged him to hide in the bedroom, but before he could escape, the lion attacked Christian, biting him severely in the neck. His grandmother, Marie, acted quickly and tried to pull the lion away, shielding Christian with her own body. Despite her brave efforts, the damage was already done. Christian was rushed to a local hospital and then transferred to Mauled Mediclinic in Pretoria due to the seriousness of his injuries. He was placed in a medically induced coma, and his condition was critical. The doctors discovered that 2 vertebrae in his neck had been damaged, and swelling in his brain prevented them from performing surgery. During this difficult time, Christian's father shared updates on social media, asking for prayers and hoping for a miracle. The family remained by Christian's side, clinging to the hope that his brain activity would return. It was a devastating wait, especially since Christian had just celebrated his 12th birthday the day before the attack. His parents had struggled for years to have him, going through fertility treatments, and now he was gone far too soon. In the days following the attack, Christian's condition showed no improvement. Despite the best efforts of the medical team, several scans revealed that there was no brain activity. The swelling in his brain was simply too severe to allow for any further treatment. On April 29, 2017, 3 weeks after the attack, Christian passed away. His father, Herman, shared the heartbreaking news on a Facebook page dedicated to updates on Christian's recovery. Christian Joseph Armand Prinsloo died at 10:50. "We love you, son," he wrote, breaking the hearts of over 4,000 followers who had been supporting the family throughout the ordeal. Love and condolences poured in, reflecting Christian's impact on his community. Christian's death raised serious questions about the safety and ethics of keeping wild animals like lions in domestic environments. Many experts, including Cordelia Britton from the animal charity 4 Paws UK, pointed out that no matter how well animals like lions are raised, they can never be fully tamed. They retain their wild instincts, making it dangerous for people to keep them nearby. The Department of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries opened charges against Cor and Alet Vos, the lions' owners, for keeping the animals in a residential area without proper safety measures. While they had permits to own the lions, the regulations did not allow them to keep the animals on their property. Cor Vos defended their actions, claiming the lions were tame and even slept with them. But Christian's death clearly showed the risks that come with such beliefs. An inquest was also launched to investigate Christian's death and determine whether negligence had played a role. Lieutenant Colonel Motse Ngoepe confirmed that the authorities were looking into how the lion had escaped and if there was any way this tragic incident could have been prevented. Christian was remembered as a bright and beloved child. He was a grade 6 student at Louis Leipold Layer School in Centurion, and his friends, teachers, and family were deeply affected by his loss. His story reminds us of the dangers of keeping wild animals in environments where they don't belong, no matter how tame they may seem. On June 5, 2005, near Canmore, Alberta, 36-year-old Isabelle Dubé, a competitive mountain biker and French teacher, went for a jog with 2 friends. Originally from Cap Saint-Ignace, Quebec, Isabelle had moved to Canmore to enjoy the beautiful mountain trails. That day, what was supposed to be a routine run turned into a tragedy. While jogging along a well-known trail near the Silvertip golf course, the women suddenly encountered a grizzly bear just 20 to 25 meters ahead. This wasn't the first time authorities had dealt with this bear. A week earlier, it had been tranquilized and relocated to Banff National Park after causing problems in a nearby neighborhood. Despite the move, the bear had returned to the area, traveling 15 kilometers back to Canmore. Faced with the grizzly, Isabel climbed a tree while her two friends panicked and slowly backed away before running toward the golf course for help. Though they didn't witness the attack, they heard Isabel shouting at the bear as they rushed to find assistance. Rescue teams arrived quickly, but tragically it was too late. The bear had pulled Isabel down from the tree and fatally attacked her. Wildlife officers and one of Isabel's friends later tracked and shot the bear. The animal, a 4-year-old male weighing around 200 pounds, had been under authorities' watch. Just a week before, it had followed resident Nikki Davison while she was photographing wildflowers. Luckily, she and her dog had escaped unharmed. The bear wasn't relocated for being aggressive, but rather as a precaution to keep it away from residential areas. Unfortunately, the effort didn't work. Isabel's death shocked the Canmore community. She left behind her 5-year-old daughter, Leah, and her husband, Heath McCroy. Known for her athleticism, teaching, and vibrant personality, Isabel was a beloved figure. Her tragic death showed the risks that arise when human activities overlap with wildlife habitats. In response, Canmore took steps to reduce future wildlife encounters. Isabel's death led to the founding of Bow Valley WildSmart, a nonprofit organization aimed at promoting wildlife safety awareness. WildSmart has since been key in educating the public about safely coexisting with wildlife, reaching over 15,000 people yearly. Tyler McClure, WildSmart's education and outreach coordinator, stressed the importance of community involvement. People learned to use bear spray, make noise while hiking, and take other precautions to avoid encountering wildlife. Heath noticed how Isabel's death changed residents' behavior. People became more aware of their surroundings, keeping dogs on leashes and removing non-native fruit trees that could attract bears. However, challenges persisted. Some locals continued feeding smaller animals like rabbits, inadvertently drawing predators into residential areas. Heath believed that the bear that attacked Isabel was an unusual case. It had already been tranquilized and relocated, making it more accustomed to humans than most bears. Although increased safety measures were implemented, living near wildlife still posed certain risks. The tragedy also highlighted the ongoing conflict between human expansion and wildlife habitats. Environmentalists had long called for wildlife corridors, designated paths for animals to move between natural areas without crossing into human spaces. Unfortunately, human activity continued to encroach on these areas. The trail where Isabel was attacked was part of a voluntary closure meant to protect wildlife, but people still used it. Years later, Isabel's daughter Leah had her terrifying encounter with a bear. 12 years after her mother's death, Leah met with a bear while hiking. Filled with fear and haunted by memories of her mother's death, she panicked and ran, but thankfully escaped unharmed. The experience, however, left her deeply shaken. Isabel's story reappeared online, sparking debates about bear safety and survival strategies. Some questioned her decision to climb a tree, while experts recommended backing away slowly, making noise, and using bear spray in such situations. Surviving a bear encounter is never easy due to their strength and speed. This tragic event underscored the need for better wildlife management strategies. Relocating bears isn't always effective, as some, like the bear that attacked Isabel, find their way back to familiar areas. Long-term solutions must balance public education, habitat protection, and managing both human and wildlife populations to reduce the risk of future tragedies. It was May 29, 2017 in Cambridgeshire, England. Rosa King, a 33-year-old zookeeper, was at work, caring for the animals she loved. She had worked at Hamerton Zoo Park for 13 years, developing a strong passion for big cats. That morning, Rosa's main task was cleaning the windows of the tiger enclosure, as the zoo prepared for its 10 a.m. opening. Rosa often worked alone, believing it helped her focus and avoid distractions. That day, she was cleaning the windows of the Malayan tiger enclosure, home to a tiger named Sikip. Cleaning the windows was a regular chore due to the tiger's habit of marking them with urine. At around 11 a.m., a visitor named Frank York was walking through the zoo when he saw something alarming in the tiger enclosure. he noticed a figure lying still on the ground from the viewing area. Sensing danger, he immediately alerted the zoo staff. The zoo staff responded quickly, armed with a tranquilizer gun, and managed to secure the area. Soon after, police and paramedics arrived. But tragically, it was too late to save Rosa. Sikip had attacked her. Thankfully, the staff could safely guide the tiger back into its enclosure without force. An inquest into Rosa's death was held, led by coroner Nicholas Moss. The investigation looked into why 2 gates and a protective slide, meant to keep the tigers and the keepers separate, had been left open. The police found no issues with the gates themselves, suggesting that human error might have played a part. Rosa's parents, Andrea and Peter King, attended the inquest. Andrea shared that Rosa loved animals and had dreamed of working with them from a young age. She described her daughter as someone who loved her job and always smiled. Despite the dangers of working with big cats, Rosa had never voiced concerns about her safety and believed working alone sometimes made her more focused. Additional details about that morning came to light during the inquest. Rosa had been working earlier with a student intern, Lucy Tonkin. After their brief time together, Rosa cleaned the tiger enclosure alone. The zoo had not yet opened, making it a quiet morning at the time of the incident. Police officer Nathan Searle, who was in charge of the scene investigation, described what he found inside the enclosure. Near the gate Rosa likely used, he saw a large blood stain, a set of keys, a wet cloth, a squeegee, and a tiger paw print. Catherine Adams, the head keeper, suggested that Rosa might have been trying to leave the enclosure when Sissip attacked, possibly after the tiger had stalked her. The inquest revealed that a metal slide meant to keep tigers and keepers apart was left open, as were a metal gate and a wooden gate that restricted public access. Rosa was known for being careful, but human error appeared to have occurred. She had been working long hours that summer and caring for a serval kitten, which required night feeds, potentially leading to fatigue. During the investigation, senior ergonomist Elizabeth Yeomans testified that people sometimes see what they expect when doing routine tasks. This could have led Rosa to believe the gates were closed when in reality they were open. Colleagues and friends spoke highly of Rosa's dedication to animals. Andrew Swales, the zoo's founder, shared that Rosa had helped design the tiger enclosure and was deeply committed to her work. Hamerton Zoo, which had been open since 1990, housed tigers since 2001 and had welcomed 100,000 visitors in the year leading up to Rosa's death. After the incident, the zoo remained closed for a day while the investigation occurred. Tributes to Rosa poured in on social media, with many praising her dedication to animal care. Esther Spicer, who had met Rosa several times, expressed her sorrow, saying it was heartbreaking that someone so passionate about animals had lost her life in such a tragic way. At the end of the inquest, the jury concluded that Rosa King's death was an accident. Coroner Nicholas Moss noted that even though a system was in place to ensure safety, human error can still occur, even among the most careful individuals. On March 12, 2018, in Bentong, Malaysia, 33-year-old firefighter Abu Zaran Hussein, known as the Snake Whisperer, took on a dangerous mission. Hussein had made a name for himself by handling some of the most venomous snakes in the world. For over a decade, he dedicated his life to relocating snakes that posed a threat to homes and businesses. That day, he was called to capture one of the deadliest snakes, a cobra. Due to Malaysia's tropical climate, snakes often enter populated areas. When this happens, the fire department's King Cobra squad is usually called in. Hussein led this specialized team and trained firefighters to handle these dangerous creatures carefully. He believed that calmness and respect toward the snakes were crucial for safety. He often said that fear led to mistakes, which could be deadly in his work. Unfortunately, things went tragically wrong on this mission. While attempting to capture the cobra, Hussein was bitten. His colleagues rushed him to Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Hospital hoping for a recovery. This wasn't the first time Hussein had been bitten. In 2015, he had survived a cobra bite and was in a coma for 2 days before recovering. But this time the venom was too strong. Hussein's condition worsened quickly, and despite the doctor's best efforts, he passed away on March 16, 2018 at 12:40 a.m. His death marked the end of a brave man who had spent his life facing one of the world's deadliest creatures. Hussein wasn't just a local hero. He had gained international recognition. In 2016, he appeared on the TV show Asia's Got Talent, performing dangerous stunts with snakes, including kissing a cobra. His skills impressed audiences, and he advanced to the quarterfinals. However, many people were unaware of just how risky his work was. For Hussein, working with snakes wasn't just a job, but a passion and a calling. However, his public profile came with challenges. In 2016, British tabloids falsely accused Hussein of marrying his pet snake, which they claimed he believed was the reincarnation of his deceased girlfriend. The bizarre story, accompanied by pictures from his social media, quickly went viral. These false claims deeply hurt Hussein and spoke out about them, stating the story was untrue. He clarified that the snake was a pet, and the tabloids had made up the rest. Despite the unwanted attention, Hussein remained dedicated to his work. He owned several pet cobras and studied their behavior closely. His methods were meticulous, and he always emphasized the importance of staying calm when handling snakes. He knew that even a small mistake could have serious consequences. Hussein's interest in snakes stemmed from his childhood. His father had been a snake charmer, and Hussein was fascinated with reptiles from a young age. Over the years, he was bitten multiple times, each time reminding him of the dangers he faced. The cobra bite in 2015 had been a close call, but it hadn't stopped him from continuing his work. He saw it as his duty to protect others from these dangerous creatures. The cobra that bit Hussein in 2018 was a king cobra, one of the most lethal snakes in the world. Its venom can cause paralysis and death within hours if left untreated. Hussein had faced many cobras before, but his expertise wasn't enough to save him this time. His colleagues, who had witnessed his skill and dedication firsthand, were devastated by his passing. News of Hussein's death spread quickly, and many people mourned the loss of such a talented and brave man. His co-workers remembered him as patient and focused, ensuring the job was done safely. One former firefighter, Mauled Hafizi Ali, recalled spending hours tracking snakes together, with Hussein always remaining calm in the face of danger. He was laid to rest in his hometown of Kampung Permatang Gading, Kelantan, after a solemn ceremony attended by his wife, family, and firefighting colleagues. It was a calm Sunday morning on September 20th, 2015, at Hamilton Zoo in New Zealand. Samantha Kudawi, a senior zookeeper with over 20 years of experience, started her day like any other. She was deeply dedicated to the animals in her care, especially Oz, a 250-kilogram Sumatran tiger. Samantha often talked warmly about Oz, calling him a nice male, and celebrating his arrival at the zoo as a major moment in her career. In 2014, Oz fathered 2 cubs, a big achievement for the zoo and a personal highlight for Samantha. However, that Sunday turned into a day of tragedy. Around 11 a.m., Samantha entered the tiger enclosure, and what happened next remains unclear. Despite her experience, Oz, the same tiger she had cared for, attacked her, and Samantha did not survive. Some experts suggest the attack could be linked to the tiger's breeding season when male big cats become more territorial. West Auckland vet Brett Christian mentioned that this is the time of year when tigers tend to be more protective of their space. While this theory hasn't been confirmed, it offers a possible explanation for the fatal incident. Adam Rich, an eyewitness, remembered seeing a keeper in the tiger enclosure about 45 minutes before the attack. He said the tigers appeared calm as the keeper opened the gate for them to move outside. After the attack, zoo staff were visibly panicked, leading Rich to think an animal had escaped. The zoo quickly reassured the public that all animals were secure and no visitors were in danger. Oz had been brought to Hamilton Zoo from Auckland in 2013 as part of an international effort to protect the endangered Sumatran tiger species. With only about 400 to 500 left in the wild, Oz's arrival and the birth of his cubs in 2014 were significant milestones. Samantha had been especially proud of her role in caring for Oz and his family. Samantha's sudden death left her family, friends, and colleagues in shock. Her family requested privacy, while Catherine Nichols, a close colleague, remembered Samantha as a passionate conservationist who had always wanted to work with animals. Samantha's dedication to her job and her love for animals were well known. In her biography, she wrote about how hard it was to say goodbye to the animals she cared for, showing her deep connection with them. The zoo community was deeply affected by the incident. Hamilton City Council Chief Executive Richard Briggs confirmed that Oz was involved in the attack, but did not share specific details. The zoo closed for several days as police and WorkSafe NZ launched investigations. Briggs emphasized the importance of supporting the grieving zoo staff during this difficult time. Following the tragedy, a debate arose about Oz's future. Many believed that Samantha wouldn't have wanted Oz to be put down. A Facebook page called "Please Don't Put Down Oz" quickly gained thousands of likes, and a petition to save the tiger gathered over 1,800 signatures in just a few hours. Supporters argued that Samantha, a dedicated conservationist, wouldn't have wanted Oz to be killed. However, the zoo faced a tough decision. Could Oz be kept safely, or would he threaten staff in the future? Zoo consultant Tim Husband pointed out that tigers remain wild animals, not domesticated pets, even in captivity. He said Oz should only be euthanized if he continued to be a danger. Ultimately, the zoo had to balance the staff's safety with the animal's well-being. Samantha's death had a profound impact on the zoo industry. Karen Fifield, chief executive of Wellington Zoo, expressed her sympathy for the staff at Hamilton Zoo and raised concerns about safety protocols. She noted that at Wellington Zoo, keepers are not allowed to enter enclosures with tigers, sparking discussions about whether Hamilton Zoo's procedures should be stricter. As the zoo community mourned, many reflected on Samantha's two-decade career in conservation. Her passion for protecting endangered species, particularly Sumatran tigers, was evident in her work. While she deeply loved animals, her tragic death reminds us of the risks of working with wild creatures.